Hello, welcome to Non-Inkables. Today's video is just going to talk about all the new cards that they've released so far for Shimmering Skies. I did this last set and it really helped me kind of review the cards and actually look at them. They released a bunch of them on the Lorecast, and then also they've kind of been releasing some here and there, and today there was a new one that was released at the Disney Lorcana Challenge in Bochum. So let's get started. As always, I've categorized them in kind of by their franchise. So let's go. All right, so in terms of classic Disney cards, they released a few. So this first one is Donald Duck Pie Slinger. He is a 5-cost inkable card, 3/6, shifts for 4. He counts as a Floodborn, a hero, and a knight, and he quests for 1 lore. He has 2 abilities. Humble Pie. When you play this character, if you use Shift to play him, each opponent loses 2 lore. He also has Raging Duck. While an opponent has 10 or more lore, this character gets +6 attack. So I don't think he has that many good shift targets right now. Maybe there's, I think, 2 Donald Ducks that are pretty low cost that you could shift him for. But I do like the idea that the opponent loses 2 lore. I feel like it kind of brings it back to set 1 and 2, where you had the Aladdin that made people lose lore, and also Lady Tremaine. I was thinking of making a for fun deck that just had red cards that when you play them, opponent loses lore, and then green cards make them discard their hand. And I was just going to call the deck Trauma, but that's in the works. We'll see. It's also legendary. And then his other ability, Raging Duck. When this opponent has 10 or more lore, this character gets +6 attack. So that makes him into a 9/6, which is pretty strong. That'll take out a McDuck Manor, any of the locations really. I think any of the characters except for maybe like Goofy Knight, which is 10/10, but anything else. So pretty strong. Although I don't know if he'll get used. We'll see. At least he's inkable. Then we have Lwig Von Drake, self-proclaimed genius. So I didn't know who this was, but apparently it's Donald Duck's uncle. And he showed up in like Wonderful World of Disney. And he is a 5-cost inkable card in Sapphire, Storyborn Ally for 4, quests for 3. So that's a lot of lore. And his quote is, "So you see, there's a dark void at the edge of Lorcana, a complete absence of electromagnetic radiation. What is it made of? I don't know. The light's just gone. Kaput." Which is interesting. What is there? Is that where we're going to go after Shimmering Skies? Is we're going to go out of Lorcana? Ooh, maybe we go out of Lorcana and then we can get like Pixar characters. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe wishful thinking. And he looks like he has a party where he's wearing one of the decorative banners in a very fancy house. This could be Scrooge's house because it's got many chandeliers. Yeah. And then next we have Mickey Mouse Enthusiastic Dancer, 4-cost inkable card in Ruby, 2/4 Dreamborn Hero, quest for 2. And his ability is Perfect Partners. When you have a character named Minnie Mouse in play, this character gets +2 attack. So he becomes a 4/4. And his flavor text says, he loves to share the spotlight with the star like Minnie. And then there's also this mini card, Dazzling Dancer, 3-cost inkable card, 2/4, quest for 1. And she's also a Dreamborn hero, and her ability is Dance Off. Whenever this character or one of your characters named Mickey Mouse challenges another character, gain 1 lore. So, I mean, the combo together, I guess Mickey Mouse becomes kind of like a Goofy, a mini super goof, but at least he has 4 attack, so you can actually get rid of some stuff. And her flavor text says she doesn't seek the spotlight seeks her. I don't know if this is gonna get play, honestly. But the card is really cute, and I really like Minnie's dress because I own a dress that looks just like that. I should say I used to own a dress that looked just like that, and then I accidentally put it in the wash, and the fringe fell apart. It was not as sparkly as Minnie's dress, though, but I love it. And as an ex-ballroom dancer, I love it. And then next we have the Frozen franchise. So they released this Kristoff Card Ranger Keeper 9-cost uninkable 3/7 quest for 3 Dreamborn ally in Amber. And this is actually going to be the promo card. And his ability is Song of the Herd. For each song card in your discard, you pay 1 ink less to play this character. So kind of like a Chernabog for song. So he definitely have to go into probably like Steel Song. And then he also has Bodyguard. And as a 3/7, that's a pretty strong Bodyguard. So you get a quest for 3 lore, and then also he acts as a bodyguard to protect your other stuff. But he does cost a lot. So you better be singing like a ton of songs. Like maybe half your deck is songs or something. I don't know what the math would be, but a lot. Next we have Bruni, Fire Salamander in Amethyst. He is a 4-cost inkable card, 2/2, quest for 2. He's evasive. So he can kill Diablo. And he has Parting Gift. When this character is banished, you may draw a card. So fits right in with the Amethyst demo of drawing lots of cards. He's kind of expensive for a 2/2 because let me think, what else is in that ink type? So you have Dolores, who's a 4-cost inkable. She is a 3/3, and you get a card when you play her. She also quests for 2, but she doesn't have the evasive. You get Goat, who's a 4/3, quest for 1, but you get a lore when he enters and leaves play. So I think kind of a weak character to be playing, and also like by the time you can get him out and he's dry and you can actually play him against Diablo, it's probably too late. Diablo's already done a lot of damage in terms of getting your opponent cards. All right, and then we have Elsa, the 5th Spirit. A 5-cost inkable card in Amethyst, 2/5, and she quests for 1. She is a Dreamborn, a hero, a queen, and a sorcerer, so a lot of different categories for her. She has Rush, and she has Evasive. So she could deal with Diablo. But also at 5 ink, that's kind of past Diablo, I guess. By that time, it's more of a she can finally deal with Diablo by the time you can play her. And she has the ability Crystallize. When you play this character, exert chosen opposing character. So that's kind of cool where if they didn't exert that character, you could exert them unless they have, of course, Ward, in which case useless. But the art looks very cool. And I feel like this, I don't know, cold air ice she's shooting out of her hands, I feel like would just really pop on the foil card. And then next we have Robin Hood. So during the Lorecast, they revealed this Prince John Gold Lover card, 4-cost inkable, 3/4. He is a Storyborn villain and prince, and he quests for 1, and it says beautiful, lovely taxes. So you can exert him and play an item from your hand or your discard with a cost 5 or less for free exerted. And his ability is a villainous schemer from day to night. I don't know if this will be super useful. Maybe. I don't know, though. Because what? You could play like a Popsicle. You could play Greatstone Dragon. You could play a Fishbone Quill. You could play Medallion Weights. Bang Crossbow. And then there's also, of course, this version, which is going to be in the Villainous game that Disney also releases, Disney Ravensburger. And just has alternative art, same card. And it's also going to have a promo version, as shown here. Very, very foily. And then there is this Robin Hood card. And I got to say, this Robin Hood looks great. I really like how there's like that bright spot of light, maybe the sunrise, or the sun, it looks more of like a sunrise light. And it is Robin Hood Timely Contestant, 6/6, quest for 4, that is a ton. Storyborn Hero, unfortunately, is 9-cost, not inkable, and his ability is Tag Me In. For each 1 damage on opposing characters, you pay 1 ink less to play this character. So I think you would have to probably combo him with something like Tinkerbell, Giant Fairy, so you could put 1 damage on everything. But the other thing is, like, you want to do enough damage so that everyone is damaged, but you also don't want to do so much damage that everyone is just banished, because that wouldn't work. So yeah, I think you'd really have to build a deck around this Robin Hood to make it work. And also just being not inkable. I could imagine getting this in your opening hand and you just gotta hold on to it. He does have ward, so that is nice, but I don't know if he's gonna get very much play. He's not really a shift target, but I guess you could mix him with that Hades card that lets you play a character with the same name for free. So you could play like, ooh, that would be insane if you played like a 1-cost Robin Hood, and then I think the Hades is like a 3-cost, and then on turn 4 you could play this Robin Hood. That'd be pretty sick to play like a 6/6 on turn 4, and quest for 4. Yeah, that would be awesome. Okay, so maybe a little more playable than I initially thought. And then we have a bunch of cards from WreckIt Ralph. So first, of course, is main character Vanellope Von Schweetz, Sugar Rush Champion. She is a Storyborn Hero Princess and Racer, which is a new category. 2/2 in Amber, quest for 1. And her text says, look, the code may say I'm a princess, but I know who I really am. And I really like the part in the movie where, I think it's in WreckIt Ralph 2, Ralph Breaks the Internet, where she meets all the other Disney princesses. And they're like, are you a princess? They're like, do you do you have magic hair? Can you blah, blah, blah? And they say all these things. And then they're like, do people think that a strong man will show up and fix all your problems? And then she's like, yes. And they're like, she is a princess. I don't think I did that quote correctly, but that's the general gist. It's just so funny. Okay, next, there is a Ruby, Vanellope Von Schweetz, random roster racer. Geez, that alliteration is killer. 4-cost, uninkable, 3/3 rush character, and quest for 2, and has Pixelexia. When you play this character, she gains evasive until the start of your next turn. So that is pretty good. She can kill Diablo. I feel like that is the general trend of things now, is like, oh, it can kill Diablo. Yeah. And then there is Taffeta Mutton Fudge, Ruthless Rival, 2-cost inkable card, 2/2, quest for 2, kind of a vanilla card. There's not a glimmer that can keep up with me. You might as well quit now. And seriously, strong words. And then there is Taffeta Mutton Fudge, 1-cost inkable card, 1/2, Storyborn Ally Racer. Showstopper, when you play this character, if you have a location in play, each opponent loses 1 lore. So this reminds me of the Hey Hey card that's in Ruby, except for that one, it's like each time Hey Hey moves to a new location, they lose 1 lore, whereas this one is kind of like a more one-time thing. And also quest for 1, and her flavor text says, never lose sight of where you're going. 2nd place. And I feel like Taffeta Mutton Fudge may be the antagonist and mean girl, I would say, of the movie, but her lines are killer. Sick burns. There is a 4-cost inkable Taffeta Mutton Fudge, 3/3 sour speedster, who is a Floodborn. It's shift 2, so you could potentially play that 1-drop and then play her on turn 2. So you play the 1-drop to make people lose lore, although unlikely that they would have any lore at 1-drop. But then you shift into this, and then once per turn, when this character moves to a location, gain 2 lore. So it'd be really cool. I'm just imagining this would be the coolest combo if you had like Hey Hey, who you're moving to places and making your opponents lose lore, and then you have this girl who is moving to places and you're gaining lore, and then if you play like Magic Carpet, you can just move them, or like Tuk Tuk or something, you just move them for free. Yeah, that would be a fun deck. I feel like that would be an infuriating deck to play against. And then we have Rancis Flugger, Chocolate Charger, 4-cost inkable card, 4/4, quest for 1, ingredients, butter, sugar, unsweetened chocolate, vanilla, and arrogance. And then we have Turbo, Royal Hack, 2-cost uninkable card, 2/3, has Rush, and quest for 1, villain, and his ability is Game Jump. This character also counts as being named King Candy for shift, because if you've seen the movie, King Candy is actually Turbo Racer, and his game is getting shut down, and so he infiltrated the game that Vanellope von Schweetz is in with all the other Candy Racers, and he changed the code so that Vanellope and everybody else doesn't remember who she is, and they think that she's not supposed to be part of the game, when actually she is like the main character of the game, and her glitch is actually built into the game as her special ability. And they only figure it out because I think Ralph sees the machine that she is in, like her game machine, and her picture is on it. And so he's like, oh no, she's supposed to be part of the game. And then speaking of Ralph, we have WreckIt Ralph, Demolition Dude, 3-cost inkable, 1/4. In Ruby, Storyborn Hero, quest for 1, and he has Refreshing Break. Whenever you ready this character, gain 1 lore for each 1 damage on him. So that's kind of cool, but you'd have to use something that readies him. So you'd have to use like a Shield of Virtue, or you could use that LeFou that readies characters. I don't know what other options there would be for that. I don't think he's gonna get played. And then we have Schow Rainbow, 3-cost uninkable card, 2/4, cool competitor, quest for 1, and she has Rush. When it comes to racing, she never gets cold feet. And then there is a location for WreckIt Ralph, Badanon, Villain Support Center. It is a 3-cost inkable card, 7 strength. I was going to say quest for 1, but accumulates 1 lore per turn. And it costs 2 to move there. And then the ability is there's no one I'd rather be than me. Villain characters gain, if you exert the villain character and you pay 3 ink, play a character with the same name as this character for free while here. So definitely in a villain deck. I think also kind of hard to build around. And it's so cute. They're like decorating for a little party. That seems like that's a lot of decorations though. But maybe more is more. So this section we have a bunch of kind of random cards that don't, I wouldn't say random cards, they just have 1 per their franchise. So didn't get their own page. So this is Maui from Moana. And the card is a 4-cost inkable in Emerald, and it is You're Welcome, which is an action song, and I will definitely be singing this every single time I play it. And its ability is shuffle chosen character, item, or location into their player's deck. That player draws 2 cards. So similar to the ability that Yzma, Scary Beyond All Reason, has in Amethyst, although she can only do it for character cards, but she leaves a body on the board. That's a 4/4 quest for 2. And his flavor text is I make everything happen, which is part of his rap, which I'm not going to rap right here. And so I think this would be useful for doing things like shuffling back, like maybe a Tamatoa or a Fishbone Coil, maybe not, but definitely like a Lucky Dime, because then they have to search for it again in their deck, especially if they still have a bunch of cards in their deck. Maybe hard to find that dime that they need in time to win. So could be useful. Next, we have Kronk, Head of Security, 7-cost, uninkable card, 6/6, Floodborn Ally Captain, so he could protect Mr. Smee, the Steel 1, and he has a Shift 5, although I don't think there are very many good shift targets for him right now. All his shift targets are, I think, 4 or 5 ink, so kind of makes it more expensive. So hopefully they'll release like a 1 ink cost Kronk. And he quests for 1 lore, and his ability is Are You on the List? During your turn, whenever this character banishes another character in a challenge, you may play a character with cost 5 or less for free. Next, we have Scar from The Lion King, Vengeful Lion, 4-cost inkable card for 2, Storyborn Villain, and he quests for 1. He has Ward, as do many of the Emerald cards, which is infuriating. And his ability is Life's Not Fair, Is It? Which is a quote I think he says to the mouse that he catches and is like playing with in the beginning of the movie before Simba comes. And that ability is whenever one of your characters challenge a damage character, you may draw a card. So maybe you could do like Green Steel and you could just damage everyone with Tinkerbell and then challenge people with everyone else, and then you could draw a card for that. So kind of like getting you card draw in the later game. And the background of this, so there's like light coming from what I assume it's just like, maybe it's a waterfall actually, now that I'm staring at it, but it also kind of looks like a lamp and then also kind of like a UFO. Yeah. And then we have this card, Merlin, Intellectual Visionary, Brian saw this card and immediately was like, is he on a hoverboard? Or like a one wheel? Because the way his robes are flowing kind of gives the vibe that he could totally be on like something that scoots him along. And he was featured in the trailer for Shimmering Skies. So he is a 6-cost uninkable card, 3/7, quest for 2. He is a mentor and a sorcerer and a floodborn, shifts for 5. And his ability, Overdeveloped Brain. When you play this character, if you shift to play him, you may search your deck for any card, put that card into your hand, then shuffle your deck. So a tutor card, as the Magic people will say, because I believe there's a card in Magic called Tutor that does this. So similar to Alma Magikal from this set, except he can do it with any card, not just character cards. I think he does have some good shift targets that are low cost, like Merlin Squirrel, but the card on its own is not great. I think Merlin Squirrel is like a develop your brain. I don't even know if Merlin Squirrel lets you keep the card in your hand or if you just put it on the top. So you could shift onto that, but then you'd be playing Blurple. So I don't know. It could work. And then next we have the card that was just released today at Bochum, Disney Lorcana Challenge in Germany. It is a 2-cost uninkable card, Invited to the Ball. So I'm assuming this is Cinderella. It's an action card. Reveal the top 2 cards of your deck. Put revealed cards into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your... Put revealed character cards in your deck. Put the rest on the bottom of your deck in any order. And so I think this would probably work well in a Mufasa deck as a way to refill your hand, since usually the Mufasa decks only have characters. And so you would probably get to keep 2 cards. So it basically functions like a Friends on the other side that you can't sing because it's an action. And then we have Louisa Magikal, Entertaining Muscle. It looks like she's juggling donkeys. She's juggling, what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 donkeys? Impressive. 6-cost uninkable card, 4/8. So big old body, which makes sense because Louisa's really buff, and it quests for 3. So a vanilla card. And her flavor text is, this is just a warm-up, folks. Wait till you see the big finale. What's she going to do? Like juggle 10 donkeys? Probably like, well, I mean, we know that she can like lift bridges and buildings like churches. So maybe she'll juggle churches or something. I don't know. Yeah, very impressive. I like how one donkey looks like it's enjoying himself, and then the other donkey is like losing his mind. Okay, next we have Ratagan, Party Crasher, 7-cost uninkable card, 5/5 in Ruby, quest for 3, and it is a shift 4. So all of a sudden, I'm looking at all the Ratagan cards we have. It is evasive, and it also has Delightfully Wicked. Your damaged characters get +2 strength. So that's kind of cool. You could, I was just thinking, what if you paired this with like Li Shang and then maybe Lumiere or something, and then all of a sudden your characters are all really strong, and then because of Li Shang, they could all quest for way more, and then you put them in Snuggly, definitely be a crazy combo. I don't know if it'd ever work, but it'd be great. That'd be cool. And then we have the Stitch card, which they kind of teased on Stitch Day, 626, which I had to look up. I was like, what is 626? And it's Stitch's experiment number, which I knew, but like didn't connect for some reason. And it is 4-cost uninkable card, 1/4, Team Underdog. And he quests for 1, and his ability is Heave Ho. When you play this character, you may deal 2 damage to chosen character. I think we do have some other characters that do this. I think I'm going to say when you play the character, though, we have some other characters in Steel that definitely do this. And the interesting thing is, so on his little Tug of War robe, he has the Steel icon, but it's on a amethyst or purple banner. So then people were thinking, are we going to get like mixed ink things? Which would be very interesting and very complicated, but very interesting. Yeah, so why is it purple, but it's steel? Yeah, I don't know. I feel like that might be a thing. And then we also have Tug of War, so maybe he's playing against Tinkerbell, which seems unfair. I mean, she's so small. I'm sure there's other people on her team, but I don't know how much she is helping with the Tug of War. So this is a 5-cost inkable action, and you can choose one of the following. You can either deal 1 damage to each opposing character without evasive, so kind of like a Tink Giant Fairy, or you could deal 3 damage to each opposing character with evasive. I feel like there's not a lot of just evasive decks running around in the meta, but maybe if there were, that could be helpful. But also expensive. And not even a song, so I don't know. I don't know if it's going to get any play. Interestingly, all the trees are shaped like blocks, which makes me think they're in like probably the Queen of Hearts, because who else does that? Or they're in Minecraft. Those are the only two options. And then we have this great Illuminary, so Lorcana lore stuff. So it shows the stage that Gazelle is performing on in the trailer, and then it has these big old light orb thingies. Sapphire location, 3 cost inkable, 9 willpower, which is the strongest we have, so same as McDuck Manor. And it costs 2 to move people there, and it is the Great Illuminary Radiant Ballroom. And its ability is Warm Welcome. Characters with support get +1 lore and +2 resist while here, or +2 willpower while here. And I don't know, maybe this will make support decks happen, although I feel like it hasn't happened, but maybe. And then the flavor text is every service glows with the joy of celebration. Yeah, let me know what you guys think. What cards are you excited for? What cards are you planning to play? And leave your comments down below. All right, bye.